Hello YouTube, and welcome to my Fire Emblem 7, the Blazing Blade map ranking. Now, this game has quite a lot of maps. It has 47 of them in fact, and none of them are good, but plenty of them are good. So let's see which ones are good and which ones are bad with a map ranking. Now, right off the bat though, I do want to say I have never played 23X. I have actually never gotten it. I think the XP requirement on it to get it is silly. And every time I think I get it, I am surprised to learn, nope, I did not get it. Eventually, I will get this map and I will probably hate it. But for now, I haven't gotten it. F tier maps. Number 46. The Prologue! Yeah, it's a field. I feel like this is what people that hate Fire Emblem 4 maps feel like when they play Fire Emblem 4 maps. It's big, empty, and nothing happens. I love Fire Emblem 4 maps, but I imagine this is what the haters of Fire Emblem 4 maps think every time they have to play Fire Emblem 4. Number 45, Chapter 32X. I wrote this script before I finished the Let's Play. I wasn't expecting to play this map in the Let's Play. Matter of fact, my script mentions I've only played this map once and hated it. I have played this map twice. And as I said on YouTube, wow, I wonder if this map will live up to being placed as the second worst map in this game. And, alas, it did. It's nothing. This map is nothing. It has low deployment, which I don't like. The magic field, I like it the first time, but here it's just like, okay, come on. It covers the whole map. There's almost nothing you do here. And it's just really a nothingness map. And I imagine if you get all three of the Kirshna maps, there's actually a lot more story. But at least if you only get this one in a playthrough, because this is the only one that you can get with like no requirements, it's like, okay, sure, that was a map. But you don't really get anything from playing it. And it's like right before the end, it's just like, you're so close to the end, it's just like, oh, a guided map? What could this be? Oh, it's a waste of my time. That's what it could be. Number 44, Chapter 30, Ellawood. Now, technically, this map is not Chapter 30 in Ellawood mode, but I am actually using Hector mode numbers throughout this entire list, because I feel like most people, after they play this game in Ellawood mode, they almost always play in Hector mode. So I think it's easiest to recognize chapter numbers based on their Hector mode equivalents, which is why it's 30 Ellawood. Anyways, split army, but you also have really low deployments. And you see, I typically use Chapter 30 as just a way to grind my lord that just promoted and get some levels. But because of the forced map split, you can't do that. You can't get Ellawood all the kills. So, it's so annoying, and it could have been a cutscene. This map could have been a cutscene. Number 43, Chapter 30, Hector. Poison, with pretty much no deployment slots. Again, at least you could grind Hector on this map. That's one thing that makes it better than the Ellawood mode version of this map. But again, it could have been a cutscene. Number 42, Chapter 11, Hector. You could probably guess where this is going to go just based on the previous 3, but I do not like the low deployment maps in this game. I find them boring, and this is no exception. Like, obviously, if you're jumping straight to Hector mode, it makes sense to have what feels like such a Chapter 1, but even Ellawood Chapter 1, so Chapter 11, Ellawood, feels more interesting, despite still technically being the first map of a route. This is a boring map. Even on hard mode, it's kind of boring. Number 41, Chapter 31X. This isn't a real map, but at least it doesn't suck. That's why it's at the top of F tier. D tier maps. These are mostly just boring and not horrible, because that's the things with the maps in this game. I don't think the bad maps are horrible. I just think they are really, really boring. Number 40, Chapter 29, is a big example of that. It's a route map with enemy spam. It's big, non-stop enemies. It's just boring. Because at least with that, like FE4, again, to bring it up, you don't have to kill every enemy. And even then, I feel like those maps are still more interesting with things like terrain, holy blood, its weapons, and it's like just basic gameplay mechanics. But by this point in time, you're 30, 40 hours in the game and you just want it to be over, man. And big giant map with a ton of enemy spam. It's not very fun. Number 39, Chapter 23. I hate desert maps. I don't mind Fog of War maps, but this turning into a Fog of War map on hard is actually extremely annoying. And again, as I already mentioned, the guidance requirement is BS, and it lowers this map. Number 38, Chapter 1. This, I get it. This is the second map that was released in the West, in the entire franchise, but it is so boring. Yeah, there's a little bit of terrain to teach you terrain bonuses, but the units aren't interesting on either side. It's all around not an interesting map. Number 37, Chapter 5. This map is literally just forest. At least Chapter 1 of Genealogy, to bring it up again, only a tiny part of the map is a forest. The worst part of the map is a forest. Everything before the forest I actually really enjoy. This is just the forest part of Chapter 1 of Genealogy. That's not a good thing. Number 36, Chapter 9. I don't necessarily hate Fog of War. I like Fog of War when it's used in interesting ways. I like Fog of War with defense maps, for instance. It means that you can't really see all the threats, which obviously may seem unfair, but defend maps you're supposed to defend, and that's why I think Radiant Dawn does them so well with the torches. You're able to get little glimpses of what you need to watch out for. But here, it's just boring Fog of War. And other Fog of War maps in this game that, while they're not great, they're not horrible either, have a bunch of split routes that you can take during the fog to also make it more interesting. This doesn't have that. And the fog is only here for half the chapter anyways. The fog doesn't really add anything to this map. You might as well have just kept it without the fog. Number 35, Chapter 2. Again, another just absolutely boring map. It teaches you breakable walls, which is great, because I believe this is actually the first time they appeared in the entire franchise. I do not believe they're in Binding Blade. But at the same time, playing this map feels like I'm warp skipping it just by playing it normally. That's not good. C tier maps. These are really just average. I don't think they're horrible. I don't think they're great. I think they're fine. And as a whole, to me, this is gameplay-wise where Fire Emblem 7 fits amongst the GBA games. It's never really that bad and never really top tier either. These maps to me are the definition of they're fine. They're not bad. This is the baseline to me of Fire Emblem map design. Number 34, Chapter 31. Despite what I said in the video, this is not the worst map in the game. I like defense maps, which bumps it up immediately. That being said, this is essentially my least favorite one. I don't know why I said essentially. This is my least favorite one. Because by the time you get to it, I just want the game to be over. And I love defense maps, but this game has a lot of them. And so many of them kind of makes the objective lose its luster. Thracia only has 2 of them. They feel really impactful. And this game has so many, it's just like, by the time you get to it, it's like, okay, please be done. Number 33, Chapter 28X. Boring map with an annoying gimmick. It's better than the version of this map in Binding Blade, though. Number 32, Chapter 32. Funny how that works. Enemy spam. But I do like all the options this map gives you, but most of them aren't even worth taking anyways. And again, it's kind of just boring. This is a long game. This map feels not as redundant as the Gaiden after it, but it feels redundant. But hey, at least it sees and not route. I still pretty much routed it though when I played it on the Let's Play. Number 31, Chapter 24A. It is worth noting that with the A and B maps, the route splits in this game, I used Fire Emblem, World of Dragons, to decide which one I call A and which one I call B. This is a boring map with annoying enemies and a horrible new unit. New in air quotes because he's actually not really new if you played Len mode. I think the real reason why I don't like this map, though, at least in comparison to the other map, is because 24B is actually fantastic. I love 24B. I think if it weren't for 24B, this map wouldn't be as low. Number 30. Chapter 3. This, to me, is the middle of the road. The exact middle of the road in this game. There is nothing that I don't like. There's nothing that I like. This is truly average. Congratulations, Chapter 3. You are the baseline from which I have ranked every other map in this video. Number 29, Chapter 8. I don't really like Ballista. That being said, I do think this is still an interesting design map to teach you how Ballista works. I think the village to the side, you're like, obviously you're going to want to send a unit there, then bam, they can't buy the Ballista. I think that's good teaching, which is why I put it above Chapter 3, despite the fact that I don't like Ballista. Number 28, Chapter 19. Lots of paths to go. And not very many threatening enemies other than the boss, and the fact they just can't see the enemies also helps keep this map feeling fair. Play safe in the map is easy, spread out the army, or keep it together. It depends how you want to play. This map has nothing amazing, but again, it's nothing really horrible, and I like choices, and again, it's not like they throw a bunch of unfair enemies. You get a brand new Pegasus Knight flyer, which, at least to me, implies there are archers on this map. Be careful. And I do like that. Number 27, Chapter 7X. This is a boring but easy first guide-in with what I believe is the first enemy thief and reinforcements, which in most games I would not be able to tell you what map has the first reinforcements or has the first enemy thief. But I am 99.9% sure I am with this game. Which, I don't know. Thinking about that feels weird. And it makes me oddly like this map more than I should. Number 26. Chapter 27A. Snow. Annoying gimmick for which unit you get. But it's otherwise fine, though. Harkin being able to attack Elwood despite his whole, thing of, I want to save. I want to avenge Elbert is really stupid. Number 25, Chapter 27B. Literally, the only reason I think of this map any different is because Harkin is easier to recruit. One, because the opening doors gimmick is a lot less annoying than the killing promoted enemies gimmick to decide which one you get. I also just feel like it's easier to get to Harkin without him killing Elwood first, as well. Number 24, Chapter 16. A field with trees and a ballista. Having two armies helps make this map not completely suck. But it still really isn't that interesting, especially with a two armies map, as it feels like that doesn't really factor into it all that much other than Lynn's army is getting hit by ballista initially. It doesn't really change how I play this map. Number 23, Chapter 15. A less interesting Chapter 4. There's actually a video essay, I can't remember what it's called or who made it, on why this map isn't good. And while I do think they were a little hard on this map, it is a defend map, which means I do instinctively enjoy it. It definitely is one of the weakest ones in this game. Number 22, Chapter 19XX. Now, it's worth mentioning I have not played this map in over a year, but it's a fine Fog of War map. The chest, I don't really remember being worth it, but I think the biggest benefit of playing this map is you get cool story involving Ninian and Nils that just should have been in the main story. You shouldn't have needed guidance for it. Number 21, Chapter 11 Elwood. This is a fine starting map. To me, this is a slightly worse version of Chapter 1 from Binding Blade, which I like. Roy and Elwood, it makes sense, and it's a fun map. It gives you an additional stat booster that you don't get in Hector mode either, which I think is fun. Number 20, Chapter 7. Rescue dropping is a great thing to have in a tutorial. I love that Fire Emblem 7 and Fire Emblem 8 both did that, but it's also really the only noteworthy thing about this map. Number 19, Chapter 17. A linear map with side objectives that make it more fun. I like side objectives. Villages in FE4 are one of the main reasons why I enjoy that game's map design a lot more than most people. The map Pretty much the map I dislike the most in Fire Emblem 4 is the one that has the least interesting villages or least interesting side objective, which is Chapter 4. The green units are a fun side objective, and you can purposely let them die to get different rewards, which I really enjoy. Number 18, Chapter 26. Having multiple objectives is great, and you finally get a promoted lord. The multiple objectives here is the shops in the corner. They're hard. If you go for them, you are going to be threatened. Vida is a threat, and I really like that. And I also think it's really fun that you can use the mind glitch to get a souped up spear in hard mode. You really can't in normal mode. But in hard mode you can, and I think that's really fun. Number 17, Chapter 19X. What normally would be a boring map is elevated by having Kirshna in the Magic Zone. I know I railed on it earlier, but I think as a one-trick pony, it is a super fun map gimmick. And the idea of having a guided objective in a guided map is also really fun with killing Kirshna. And this is also where you can get the silver card if you're playing hard mode by stealing it off of the boss. If you're playing normal mode, you have to use double dash bonus disc, which is stupid. But in hard mode, this is where you get the silver card, which I also think is cool. I like when you actually have to work for it. And this map does make you. Number 16, Chapter 22. Hard mode really made me appreciate this map. Before my most recent Hector hard mode playthrough, I would have put this map in C or even D tier. And maybe even said it was my least favorite defense map in this game, but it's not. Getting Heath and getting the chest is really fun, because you don't want to kill Heath. You want the mine. You want the mine so you can mine glitch. And I think that's really fun. That always makes me enjoy it, because this is a really easy map if you don't care about getting Heath, don't care about the chest. It gives you a really good chokehold point. And if you decide to go for the side objectives, you're spreading yourself pretty thin, which I really like. This is actually a pretty good defense map, and I can see myself... This is probably the map I see myself appreciating more and more as time goes on. I see myself looking back at this video in a year and being like, maybe this map was too low. But at least as of now, the map design itself is kind of boring. So, it's B tier. Number 15, Chapter 25. Oh, I talked about Fire Emblem 4 already this video, and I like Fire Emblem 4. This is like Fire Emblem 4. You got multiple castles to seize. Reinforcements are a little bit more annoying than Fire Emblem 4, but they kind of work a little bit like Fire Emblem 4. You got an extremely expensive unit to recruit, just like Fire Emblem 4's Beowulf. And Fire Emblem 6. And I think it's a fun map. I think it being Hector mode only is weird, although there's like no story attached to this map. I enjoy this map, but maybe it shouldn't have existed. But you know what? It's still fun. Number 14, Chapter 12. I like how you have two armies on the sides of the map. And Sarah and Matthew being relatively weak. Well, Matthew most likely is weak. I guess both of them you could have trained in Lin mode. But assuming you didn't train them in Lin mode, they're pretty weak, and I think that makes the challenge really fun. I tend to play this map of rushing people to the south to the north so that Sarah and Matthew don't die. And I think that's a lot of fun. I think it's a really fun map. Number 13, Chapter 21. A difficult map that I used to hate. On Hector hard mode, you have to play this map fast or else you get overwhelmed. And in fact, I'm really bad at this map in Hector hard mode. On my most recent Hector hard mode playthrough, this is the map I struggled on the most. And this is the map that made me go, if I want to Iron Man this game for YouTube, I can't do hard mode because I'm not good enough. And while in the past I would be upset at this map for making me realize that, I think ultimately that's a good thing. This is a good map. Number 12, Chapter 10. If it wasn't for rain, this would probably be an A tier. Lundgren is a surprisingly hard and fun boss for Lin mode. He's way tougher than any other enemy you've faced thus far. He's a really fun challenge. And Florina can be used for crowd control for the second half of the map right away because of the way it's designed. And I like the idea of a last minute shop where you can just like ruin your gold ranking right at the end. Number 11, Endgame. I enjoy the two main bosses here a lot, and I do like the challenge rooms. I think I would have preferred a different kind of final map still, but I do enjoy it. And I finally got to use the weapons that this map gives you, and they're actually really fun to use. I wish they were more effective on the dragon. And I think getting Athos here is really fun, because it does mean that no matter how bad you are at this game, if you can play this map right, you can beat the game. Athos can beat this map on his own, as long as you play well. A tier. These are really good maps. As I already said, to me, Fire Emblem 7's maps are mostly just really good, but nothing too great. So this is a little bit of a smaller tier, as you can tell by the next number. But that doesn't mean I don't like the maps in this game. I think maybe I was being a little harsh on maps. I think the B tier in this game is pretty solid. And I think the A tier here is actually really good. Number 10, Chapter 6. I like the unique winning condition. That's it. That's why this map's so high. Number 9, Chapter 4. I like defense maps, and this is a really solid one that teaches you the ins and outs of how they work. It's nice and fun. It gives you good chokeholds. And, you know, it's nice and simple. And you can push, you can defend. It really depends what you want to get on XP. And I like that. And every unit you have is really useful. That's what I love about early game defense maps. Every unit matters. If you've been playing bad up until this point, this may be really hard. But if you have all your units alive, it should be pretty easy. And I like that. Number 8, Chapter 20. Well, this map may be more linear than I would like. Cheswin has linear really been that big of an issue for me. And besides, having to play fast to get the gold card makes this map feel awesome. Because whenever I don't get the gold card, I'm so disappointed. And especially in hard mode, I'm finding myself playing rapidly fast. And it always feels so refreshing. And like, I like 19X, and I don't mind 19, but this feels refreshing. When I get here, I'm always like, oh, this is good. Number 7, Chapter 14. As much as I tend to dread this map before I play it, just like with Binding Blade, this map gets me to the edge of my toes every time, and I ultimately end up enjoying it every time. What a map! What a map that you dread beforehand, then when you're playing, you're like, oh, this is so good, and that's why I like this map so much. And I like this more than, if it weren't for the rain, I'd like this one more than the Binding Blade version, even. Number 6, Chapter 13X. I like defense maps. Again, I don't mind Fog of War and defense maps, as it allows the game to surprise you. And that, obviously, double-edged sword, they can hide something unfair in the shadows, but they don't. There's nothing unfair hidden. As long as you stay on the tip of your toes and are careful and safe and defensive, this isn't that bad of a map, and I really like that. This is a well-done defense map to me. S-tier maps, baby. These things are bangers. They rock. I love them for various different reasons. Number 5, Chapter 18. I like boat maps. I like defense maps. Having shops here is still weird, though. Number 4, Chapter 17X. I like the optional challenges. You can fight all the pirates, or you can play it safe and go around. The arena. You want some money? You could use it. I like that a lot. This map feels alive. It feels lived in because of things like that, and this map just rocks. Number 3, Chapter 13. I know, right? You were not expecting this map in S tier. I can guarantee that. You were expecting this map in, like, D tier, C tier. But I like it. I like the multiple ways to approach it. You can go immediately to the left and go right to the boss, or you can go to the right. You get the mine, you got guys are recruitable, and you got the Gaiden map to get. All those different objectives, again, just make this map feel fun. Number 2, please don't dislike this video yet. I promise there's a good reason Battle Before Dawn isn't in F tier. And that's because the most recent playthrough of Fire Emblem 7 was on normal mode. I get it. On hard mode, this map sucks. On hard mode, this map sucks. Zephiel's death being a game over condition is unfair. That sucks. On normal mode, this map is a delight. Fog of War defense maps are a delight on normal mode. On normal mode, this map brings me so much joy. I didn't understand the hate of this map until I played it on Hector Hard mode, where I was immediately like, oh, this isn't fun. But every time I'm not playing on hard mode, I leave it being like, I had fun. And that's what games are about. Number 1, Chapter 24B. I like the recruitment in Earthsteel being completely out of the way. I like arenas. And I like how, as you make your way to the north, you get bombarded in the center and kind of have to play defensive. I like that. This map slaps. It also looks good. I like the look of this map. I know I shouldn't be talking about aesthetics, but I like the aesthetics of this map too. They may have my favorite aesthetics of the entire game. It's a good map. I enjoy it. I always have fun playing on this map. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, here's the completed map ranking. Hopefully you don't think it's terrible. I think really Battle Before Dawn's like really the only one that sticks out like a sore thumb. I think besides that, it looks pretty solid and normal. And, you know, totally like my opinion, bro. But I genuinely enjoy Fire Emblem 7. I don't think it has any maps that are truly horrible, which I think makes it a fun playing experience. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Goodbye.